Good morning, pirates and mermaids. Today we're starting our X Factor crop and dress sew along. During this week, we're going to be making together either the youth or the adult, or maybe both, dresses or crop tops. The pattern is drafted for knit fabrics, so we're going to start this sew along by chatting a little bit about the fabric options, and then we're going to cut the fabric using either the pattern pieces printed or a projector file, and I'm going to try to do both for this sew along, a little bit of both. I mean, I'm going to start by cutting the skirt with the printed fabric pattern and then show you how I use my projector at least for one of the pieces. Let's start by chatting a little bit about the fabric. This is a pattern drafted for knit fabric, meaning fabric with stretch, and you do need a good amount of stretch for this, the dress or the crop top. My favorite fabric for this is bamboo spandex because one, I love the feel of that fabric, and two, it meets all the requirements. It's flowy, it's cooling, so I'm going to be using this gorgeous bamboo solid in a beautiful burgundy color that I got from Millie Mae Fabric. Millie Mae Fabrics is actually the sponsor for this sew along, so two winners will get gift certificates for Millie Mae. So I do highly encourage you to check out their Facebook group as well as their website. So I'm going to be using bamboo. Other fabrics that would work excellent for this pattern are rayon spandex or double brush poly, or some athletic fabric would work great, especially for the crop version, to use it to make it like a more sporty feel than on a dress. A sweater knits would work great. So you do have plenty of options. I would stay away from fabric with minimal stretch and very thick and very heavy, like ponte or scuba or fabrics of that type. And of course, no woven fabrics. I would not recommend this. So grab your pattern pieces, grab your pattern itself, and let's get cutting. If you've downloaded your pattern, you'll see that the crop top comes inside, the crop and dress, the X Factor, comes in sizes extra small to 5X based on our new size range. Make sure that you do take your most accurate measurements. It's highly important every time you sew for yourself. At the end of the day, that's why you sew for yourself, right? To get the best fit possible. Ready to wear fitting and pattern design fitting is different size wise, so you do need to make sure that you take your measurements. You will notice in the pattern that there are at least two active links on page 7. One is for a crew neck sleeve crop top, and the other one is for a v-neck sleeveless dress. So pretty much covering all the options. If you click on those, they will take you to two YouTube videos that Judy has included with the pattern, and they're complete sews of this X Factor crop and dress. So you can always refer to those. It's one video for each of the two options listed there. So you can always have that as a reference. The link is included in the pattern itself. So keep that in mind. And the pattern also includes A0 file, which is the copy shop file that you send to be printed unless you're very lucky and you have a plotter at home, one of those big printers at home. It includes a letter format, which is mainly used in the US. It includes an A4 format for outside of US, but it also includes a projector file, which can be used if you've decided to join the projector sewing trend, which I happily joined and love and enjoy. So I'm going to start by cutting the skirt. For the sew along, I'm going to be making myself a skirt with a v-neck and most likely short sleeves. I haven't decided that yet. probably short sleeves. You want to, again, take your measurements, decide on which side, print your pattern according to the instruction. Make sure you open it in Adobe Reader, not a web browser. You're printing landscape and auto landscape and portrait at 100% or actual size. That's highly important. And once you print it, check your 4 centimeter and 2-inch squares to double check before you cut your fabric that everything is correct. I'm going to start by cutting the skirt, and if you do make the dress, I encourage you to do the same thing. Start with the biggest pattern pieces, or the one you want to make sure you have absolutely enough fabric. I do have plenty of fabric. It's not the reason why I'm starting this, but usually when I'm like borderline fabric wise, I start with the skirt because that takes the most fabric, and then the front bodies, and then do the back and the sleeves, because those, if I need to color block or anything, it's easier and not so obvious that I did a little bit of patchworking if I needed to. So highly encourage you to start with the piece that you want to feature the most. You want to make sure you have the most accurate fabric for it. Sometimes it's the front body, sometimes it's the skirt. In my case right now it's the skirt, and then continue with the rest. So for the skirt, I will be using an actual pattern piece that I created. So I'm gonna go grab that and I'll be right back. So we're back. We're going to, like I said before, we're going to start by cutting the skirt. I have printed my skirt pattern for this, just the skirt, because I wanted to add some markings on it for a mini and a peplum. You can find the hack to make this dress a mini or a peplum on the website, on the Patterns for Pirates website. Our blog team has done some very easy hacks that can take your pattern up a notch or add extra options. So if you want to check that out, you are more than welcome to do one of the hacks for the sew along as well. So I'm just laying my fabric folded in half along the grain, and I'm trying to make sure it's all nice and flat, because I'm trying to cut just once. So I'm cutting 2 pieces at the same time. I have seen 2 of them folded, and I will add the pockets because you cannot not have pockets. So nice and flat. So what I did with my pockets, and I tend to do that with a lot of patterns where if I have enough fabric and I don't have to, I can spare to waste a little bit of fabric. So what I did, I took my pocket piece, overlapped it 1/2 inch, which is the seam allowance for the pattern, and then if I don't want to put it, I just move it. If I want the pattern, I'm going to cut the skirt with the pocket included. If you want to do mini instead of a knee length, you need to remove 5 inches along the bottom. And if you want to do just a peplum, you need to remove about 10 1/4 inches. So I'm going to cut my skirt like so. And by taping the pocket to my pattern piece, I'm basically saving a few steps when I sew my dress. And I won't have that extra seam on the side. So now I have my 2 skirts, front and back, already cut in one single movement. So this is the only pattern piece that I'm doing using an actual paper pattern. The rest of the patterns I'm going to be cutting them using my projector, and I'll show you how I move my projector around to accommodate smaller area, a smaller projection area than the actual pattern piece. We are back. You might notice that the light is much dimmer now. I do need that in order to use my projector file. So you would have to bear with me for a few minutes during the video, and then the light will be back on. So I opened my projector file that's included in the pattern. A couple of our latest ones do have a projector file. For the older ones, you can also use the A0 file to project it. I've already calibrated everything a while back. So right now I just use the percentage that I know it's needed for cutting fabric with a projector. I set my percentage on my screen. I double check that all the squares are correctly aligning, and now I can just remove the grid, the testing grid, so the fabric, so the actual pattern piece is not bothered by the extra grid. So right now I'm going to cut my front piece because I wanted to show you how to use your projector even if it doesn't fit on your mat. My projection area is about 24 by 36, I want to say, so not huge, which means that I won't be able to cut my bodies all in one shot because, as you can tell here, it doesn't fit the whole front of the band. In this pattern, the band is attached, the front band is attached to the bodies already. So see right here, I cannot get the last of it in the same projection. So what I do, first I lay my fabric already folded in half. This way I know for sure I will get 2 mirrored images. And I'm going to put some marking pins which will help me when I scooch the fabric over with my projection to cut it. So I'm going to put a pin where the V-neck ends. I'm going to put another pin where the band meets the front, where you need to make that little slit. I'm going to put another pin where the bottom bodies end, so I know these 4 points, and then I'll put another one. I may not need this one, but I'll just try it, where the sleeves end. So I have 4 points right now that I've already marked. You only need to do this if you need to do to scooch your fabric and your projection for any pattern pieces. So how you do it is you mark some specific points, and that will help you make sure it's all aligned. So right now I'm cutting only what I can see in the projection, and I'm going to go ahead with the V-neck. I'm not a crew neck person, I really am not. So I'm following the cutting lines. I think you can tell in this video that it's pretty easy to see on solid fabric. It's as long as you have a dark room when you cut it. I do need to pull down my blinds when I use my projector, and then I just open them back up. So I'm cutting only what I can see, and I'm doing a sleeved option, so I'm cutting the first towards the outside. So this is for the sleeve, this is for the tank option. I think I'm doing a short sleeve. You can mesh these sleeves with the sleeves from the flutter wrap dress. They work really nicely together. I've done a dress with that mix. Alright, so now the pattern pieces, my fabric is pulling because it's heavier on this side. So the pattern pieces are cut up to a certain point. Now you want to move the fabric to include the bottom part. So I'm going to move my projection down. There you So now it includes, I can see the bottom corner. So I'm taking the fabric that was pinned in place, and I'm matching again my pins with the new projection place. So I'm matching my pin with the arm here, with the bottom here, with the slit right here, and with the V-neck. So now the top of the shoulders is not visible in my projection area. So right now, just make sure everything is nice and lays flat. There you go. So now this corner matches as well. Perfect. See? And now I can just continue cutting exactly where I left off. And I need to make sure you put your notch marks. Don't skip those because they will help you when you put your dress or your top together. And there you have it. This is the top in two separate parts, let's say. I just scooch my projection a little lower and put my fabric a little higher, you know, by making sure that my marking points are correct. Easy peasy. It still beats printing your pattern and taping it together. And I think for this, at least for size 2X, is the only one that I need to actually move the fabric a little bit. The rest will fit in my projection area, which is again about 24 by 36. So now I'm gonna cut the back bodice, and I like to do this one horizontally. So I just simply go to view, rotate, counterclockwise, and now it's moved horizontally. There you go. So this is my back bodice. It's projected right here. Let me move it a little bit. So now I have it here. Now all, like I said, all will fit in one shot. So I'm opening my fabric. Make sure that the fold line matches the grain. You can see it pretty easily on knits, the gray line. So it's rather easy to make sure that it stays correctly. Okay. I have not made one with long sleeves yet. Maybe now it's the time to make a long sleeve and save my burgundy for maybe Christmas, although Christmas is still hot around here. January maybe. See how easy it is, and I don't have any extra papers laying around, any I don't have to buy toner that often. I still buy obviously ink because I need it for other stuff, but it's really nice not having to worry about that. Let's do the sleeves now. Let's do long sleeves. Let's go wild and do long sleeves. So again, I'm putting my fabric in already folded. So I cut only once. Again, your grain needs to go correctly. So I'm checking my grain right here. And with the fabric already folded, oh, I didn't fold it enough. Right sides or wrong sides, however you like when you fold it, you're just gonna cut one time. Yeah, that's not enough. Okay. Very easy. I can't wait to see all your beautiful X factors. Long sleeve, oh no, long sleeve hem. I am so not a cuff person. Make sure you cut your notches. don't skip those markings, will make sewing so much easier. Alright, so I'm gonna continue cutting my fabric. I still need to cut my back band and the V-neck band. Once you're done with the cutting of your fabric, post a picture of your pretty pile in the comments of the day 1 sew along check-in day. It's in the album in the Made for Mermaids and Patterns for Pirates sew along group on Facebook, and that will count as your check-in for day 1. And I will see you back here tomorrow and on the blog, of course, when we'll start sewing the front and the shoulder seams. Bye!